This is woodblock printmaker Dave Ball speaking to you again from my workbench in our Seseragi Studio in Ome on the western outskirts of Tokyo. In today's video, we'll see highlights of the process of producing the latest in Jed Henry's Ukiyoe Heroes series, the design of everybody's favorite bounty hunter in action, the one that he has entitled Infestation. This is the fourth in the series that is now complete, and I'm a bit worried that all these videos are coming out pretty much the same. Now, I paste down the image, we then see some carving, here are the color blocks, here are the printing stages, and then there's the finished print. That's simply the nature of this work. It is inherently repetitive, of course. So to help add at least a bit of variety, I tried to include some different shots this time. And the fact that she has such a wild head of hair also gives us a good opportunity to add some interest to this one. In any case, whether you're a die-hard fan of Jed's images or whether you're somebody with a more technical interest in the printmaking actually itself, I hope you find enough here to keep you happy. Let's see how it all came together. For me, the process starts when I receive Jed's Photoshop file. I inspect the line drawing at high resolution to get familiar with it, and then I print it out on a very, very thin gampi paper backed by normal copy paper. Pasting this down onto the hard cherry wood in face-down orientation ensures, of course, that the finished prints will be the correct way around once everything's done. It's amazing how much of the paper you can actually rub away. Pretty much there's nothing left on the wood but the actual black toner that came from the copy machine. As we've seen in all the videos in this series, work on a traditional print of this type starts with the key block. And every line has to be cut, both sides, and all the unneeded wood taken away. It starts with the chokokuto, the main carving knife, and then we'll use other types of chisels to clear away wider areas of unneeded wood, as you'll see soon. In the old days, they would have worked with the chokokuto and done the whole block first before moving on to the next tools, but I work piece by piece, area by area. It helps me avoid getting confused here. Here's a shot of the laptop computer that runs my webcam, which is active most days for at least 2 or 3 hours. With this wide chisel, I can remove more wood in a few seconds than I do in days of work with my normal carving knife. Off to the right, you can see the area of hair, which I've saved for the end on this block. And that gives me a chance to practice and get my technique up to good speed before trying that very difficult part. In the previous video in this series, the one in which I featured this hair carving, I shot the video a bit too soon, After I did that, I then went back, you can see it here, and gently touched up many of the lines, smoothing out the curves to make them as free-flowing as possible. Time to work on the color blocks, and what I'm doing here is I'm working with a print that I've taken from the main key block, and I'm defining the area that I want to keep for a particular color. This will be the background, one of the background colors. Some of the color blocks need more detail. I'm tracing here from another part of Jed's master Photoshop copy, one of the shadow shading blocks. Here's the full selection of those color transfer sheets. And once the set is ready, I then move ahead with more pieces of blank wood, and each one gets pasted face down as before, peeled off from the back, and then carving begins. That was fast. Actually, it took about the best part of 2 weeks to make the full set of blocks for this print. 1 key block and 5 color blocks both sides. The carving tools now go away, and out come the printing tools, of course. Collection of beautiful soft brushes, and then our wonderful drawer full of beautiful printmaker's barrels. And printing begins. I'm not going to talk all the way through this. It's pretty self-explanatory, and we've seen it before many times in this series. I'll just mention a few points that seem particularly interesting for this print. Anyway, it starts with the key block, as always, and away we go. This impression actually is a bit interesting. This print is actually going to be pretty dark, but dark colors and red. And here we are, starting off with a bright yellow that covers the whole entire surface of the paper almost. It's an interesting way to do things. We're going to layer colors on top of base tones. And this is the base for the whole print. This one shows how we get delicate pale tones in these prints. Look at the pigment. It's actually quite a rich, deep color. But just such a tiny bit of it, mixed with that big blob of paste on the print, on the block, gives us a delicate pale tint in the finished print. We're building this print with overlays. Now you saw before how the orange and how that skin tone both built on top of the yellow, and this one too. There's 2 dabs of blue there and 2 dabs of black. And printed on top of that yellow base, this will give us part of a rich, deep green-gray. This one is fun. I'm mixing here a deep blue, obviously, as you can see, but there isn't going to be any blue in this finished print. You're going to see me here do a test. I'm putting that blue pigment onto the block and brush it out, and the first piece of paper you'll see me pull up in a moment is not printing paper. It's just a sheet of normal blank copy paper, just to show us what kind of a color here. This is what the pigment actually looks like, blue. Now, that was just a test. Let's put the pigment back on again, start again, and this is now the actual print. Remember, we printed yellow before as a base, so you know what's going to come up now. Pale green. This one's a repeat. This is back to that first gray-green background block. We're doing it again to add more depth. Once is not enough for this one. This is that tone block you saw me tracing on the light table. It adds a gray background tone to some of the droids here. This is another gray-green background block. I should mean gray-blue background block, actually, of course. It's going to deepen one area of the print even more. And this is where we came in. We started the video with this one. It's actually the last impression of the series. It puts a gray tone behind her hair. Without this, it would look like she had too many white hairs. And we're done. And a very, very lovely depth of color on this one. Just gets deeper and deeper and deeper everywhere you look. And our series builds. The rickshaw cart, fox moon, the hero rests, and now Infestation. What a wonderful set this is. So there we have it. We have now, or will have when we finish printing enough of these, we'll have produced 4 of the 7 prints that we promised during our Kickstarter campaign last year. And we're actually pretty much on schedule. These are coming out 1 every 2 months, just as we outlined back then. We're also totally on schedule with our Chibi Heroes series. We're not missing a beat on those, and the hundreds of them are flying out of here every month, exactly on the 10th of the month. Here's a sneak peek at the ones we are printing this week. This is the May pair. I'm being a bit selfish with these. I myself get the first pair that comes off the blocks, and I keep them for my own collection. But, hey, why not? I mean, I'm the guy that does the proof printing each month. Anyway, this video has become way too long, as always, and thank you very much for watching this far. And thank you very much for those of us who are supporting our work. I'm not quite sure just when the next video will appear. I'm about to begin work on the next print in the series. That's the little pink monster that eats everything in sight. And I'll of course record tons of video as I go along. I'll see you when that's ready, if not before. Thank you very much.